Hello, guys. Good afternoon, people. How are you all doing? How's the day been? Hope you had a great day or you're having a great day. All right. It's that time again of the afternoon where we have, I call it the chat, the one-on-one talk, right? Like I always say, these talks are necessitated from fast happenings. Things just happen, and we're like, hey, let's have a quick talk. So, and yesterday we had a great talk around you being. I can pick up the title around that. What around you being stuck. That was what this yesterday's talk was all about. But today I think we want to take it a notch further. We'll take it a step ahead. See, most of the time we always think, oh, I am the problem. I am on my way. What about, what if it is not you? What if it is the room you are in? What if it is the environment? So that is what is necessitating today's talk. So today's talk is titled, Maybe It Is Not You, Maybe You Have Outgrown the Room. Maybe it is not you, maybe you have outgrown your environment. So let me ask you a question that will make you uncomfortable. And that's the reason why I'm asking that question. What if you're not stuck? What if you're not stuck? What if you have grown? What if the tension you feel every day is not failure? What if it's expansion? Because, see, some of you are very hardworking, showing up, staying disciplined. Hey, Grover, how you doing? Hello, thanks for joining. Stay disciplined. But internally, some things feel tight. You have this gut feeling. Some things feel very tight in your gut. Hello, Grover. Hello, Condrin, how you doing? You feel compressed. Things are feeling compressed because you're living below your capacity. And instead of asking questions like, have I outgrown this? You're asking what's wrong with me. Yesterday we said this, that most of the time when a lot of people get to this point, the first thing that you want to think about, you think, am I the problem? That's why today I'm saying, good, Sebi, good, how you doing? Maybe it's not you. Maybe you have grown bigger than the room. Maybe the problem is not you. Maybe you've grown bigger than your environment. So what do you do in that case? Most of the time when things are not working in an environment, the next thing we're prone to ask, the way we have been programmed is, am I the cause of the problem? That's the first place we look at. Man, is this me? What am I not doing right? But today's talk is hoping to make that clear that sometimes it might not just be you. It might be that the room has become too small for you. You've outgrown, or you've grown bigger than that room. So that will also cause the friction. So that's where this conversation starts today. Thank you so much for joining. Please, if you're just meeting us for the first time, kindly hit the subscribe button so that you can always know when we go live and watch our videos. Thank you so much. Like I always say, this channel is all directed towards growth and development. No hype here, no entertainment, no comedy, no music. But all those, they are great, but we are all pro-growth. See, outgrowing a room feels, it doesn't feel powerful at first. Outgrowing a room doesn't feel powerful at first. It actually feels like restlessness. It feels like irritation. It feels like boredom. It feels like being misunderstood. It feels like dimming your light. Because You start talking less. You stop sharing ideas. You don't bring your full energy anymore. Why? Why does that really happen? It's simply because the room can't hold anymore. The room can't hold it. And here's the dangerous part with that. You confuse discomfort with ingratitude. You start saying things like, I should be thankful. You start saying that I should be thankful, but growth doesn't disappear because gratitude exists. You can be grateful and still have outgrown that room. You can be grateful and still have outgrown your current environment. So because of gratitude, it doesn't mean growth doesn't exist. No. So a lot of us make mistake around that area and say, you know what? Though I'm feeling this tension in my gut, I should be grateful for what I have. I should be grateful, so we stay. Now, let me tell you about someone I spoke to. I had a conversation with somebody real life, mid-40s. It's actually in his 43rd year. He's 43 years old. He has a stable job, all right? And he has a great salary. So he has a 6-figure salary, great salary, and he's respected in his circle. But he said something that struck me. He said, Matt, I am mentoring my boss. That's what he said. He said, Matt, let me tell you, I am mentoring my boss. Now, he wasn't arrogant, okay? He's not an arrogant person. So when he said that, I was shocked because I know him. I know his personality. But it was causing him frustration. He was frustrated. He was the one solving problems. He was leading quietly. He was creating strategy, but he was never elevated. He was actually doing what the boss was supposed to do because the system he is rewards tenure, not capacity. So because he has not stayed there for a very long time, he can't grow because the system rewards tenure, not capacity. You know the problem? He had outgrown that room. He had outgrown that environment. He had outgrown, it's now bigger than that environment. But you know what? He stayed 5 more years. 5 more years. Hello, Arambako, how you doing? He stayed 5 more years. Why? Why did he stay? Oh, he got bills to pay. He got the mortgage. The job is stable. The salary is coming. So there's stability. He doesn't have to think. And he also had something he told me that really shook me. He said, man, I have this fear of starting over. I am good at what I do. I know the outcome. I'm familiar with the systems. If I go start somewhere else, I don't know what's going to happen. So, and it's 43. He said, I have this fear of starting over. Do you know what? By the time he left, he wasn't excited anymore. He was numb, completely numb. But that's what staying too long does. That's what staying in an environment that you have outgrown too long, that's what it does to you. It numbs you. It removes excitement. The initial excitement you always feel is no longer there. So you're one of those people I described in one of our lives as those people that goes to their office and sits in the car in the parking lot. They sit in the car for another 10, 20 minutes, debating with themselves whether they need to, should I go back home? I'm calling sick. Because there's no excitement anymore in what they do. They've simply overgrown that company, overgrown that room, but they still remain. They still remain. It drains fire. It drains fire from your bones. It drains fire from your bones. Like I did say, one of the reasons why he stayed in his case, he had a mortgage to pay. Another reason that was a stable environment. The salary was coming. He understands that the money will come. And another reason, he was familiar with the system. So he knows what he knows. The whole system, he knows the product, he knows the outcome. Then he doesn't want to start over again. Which of these resonates with you, friends? Which of these resonates with you? Where are you standing that you know deep within yourself that you have outgrown for years? You know deep within you that this thing you're doing, you've passed it. You've gone past it for a very long time. But because of stability, because of fear of the unknown, you can't move. Because of fear of the unknown, you can't make a move. So you decide to say, you know what, Matt? I'll stay. I'll stay. Because I don't know what's out there. I don't know how unstable out there is. So this is familiar. I'm going to remain here. What you're doing to yourself, you're numbing yourself. You're numbing yourself. When you stay too long in a place where you have outgrown, in a room where you've grown bigger than, you numb yourself. You drain out the fire from you. Let's talk about someone that we all know, Kobe Bryant. I've been using Kobe for a couple of days now as example because his life seems so fascinating. Kobe didn't wait for rooms to validate him. He didn't wait for environment to validate him. If the standard wasn't high enough, he raised it. If the culture didn't match his intensity, he demanded elevation. He didn't shrink, he evolved. See, some of you, some of us, you've lowered your intensity to fit the room. You've lowered your fire to fit the room. You've lowered your light because you feel you're shining too bright, so you have to get it low to fit the room. If you ever find yourself in a place where living your life threatens someone else because it feels that you're shining too much, then you've outgrown that place. That's a warning sign. Like my friend I just talked about, finding himself in a position where he now have to mentor his boss. That's a sign that he has outgrown that place. He's living in a place where he's now bigger than. But because of stability, he stayed. But if you find yourself in that position, that's a warning sign. See, this also happens in our marriages for the married people. This one is quite delicate, you know. Sometimes you outgrow a dynamic. You outgrow, not you don't outgrow a person, you outgrow a dynamic. You're like, let me put it this way. A woman once told me that, she said she's been working on herself for 5 years. She's been reading, she's been going to therapy, she's working on growth, discipline, and now the conversation feels shallow. The conversation she's now having, she now noticed that the conversation back home is shallow. Now she didn't want to leave. She wanted alignment. But growth creates tensions in relationships. Growth creates tensions in marriage. One person stretches, the other resists to stretch. The other resists to stretch. Now you're the different one. You're the too serious one. You've changed one, you know? Yes, you have. Growth actually changes someone, so you've changed. The question is, does the room stretch with you? Or does the room mock you? So if you find yourself in a room today and you've grown, obviously, the question to ask is, does this room you find yourself, does this stretch with you? Or the room, does it mock you? See, that tension, friends, is real. That tension is very real. That tension is very real. If you find yourself in a room where you're growing or you have outgrown and the room is mocking you, that tension is very real. And one of the things that causes people to start thinking second thought here is what I call the loyalty conflict. Here's why this is hard. People are loyal. You're loyal by default. You're a good person, so you're loyal. You don't quit easily. You believe in staying. And staying is honorable. That's what it is. But loyalty to a room that shrinks you, that becomes what I call self-abandonment. You abandon yourself. Self-sabotage. If a room shrinks you and you're loyal to that room, you are sabotaging yourself. See, that's a strong language, but it's the truth. That's just the way I can say it. It's the truth. You can't demand expansion while living in compression. No. You can't demand expansion while you're living in compression. Think of Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln lost repeatedly, right? We all know the story. Lost elections repeatedly. Different rooms rejected him. He could have assumed he wasn't capable. He could have assumed he was the problem. Or yes. Instead, he kept refining until alignment met with preparation. It was the same person. Different elections, different moment, different rooms. That's critical. That takes time. That tells on you. But he refused to allow those outcomes weigh him down. Sometimes you don't need more effort. You just need a different environment. That's what you just need, a different environment. What you're doing right now is okay. It's even more than okay. But the environment where you are, the room where you are, is shrinking you. You don't have to shrink. And like I said, you can't demand expression when you are under compression. You can't. Oh, think of the what I call the immigrant story. An immigrant friend, one of my immigrant friends, he once told me, he said, when I move over here, I just took any job to survive. I just took any job to survive. I was grateful, right? But now I'm more than capable, but I'm still treated like I just arrived. You know, that hurts him. You can outgrow survival mode. You don't have to remain in survival mode all the days of your life. You can outgrow it. But the problem is that most of the time people outgrow survival mode, but they stay stuck mentally. Mentally, they remain there. They've actually outgrown it, but mentally they stay stuck. Sometimes the room only knows the old version of you. The room only knows the old version that came into it. All the changes you made, all the growth you went through, the room doesn't know about it. And you've changed, you've evolved. Now you have to decide. Now you have to decide. Will you keep playing the small role or step into a bigger one? Will you keep playing the small role or you step into a bigger role? See, friends, that's terrifying. Hey, Matt USA, how you doing? How you doing? I hope you're doing great. Friends, that's terrifying. It's terrifying for you to move from a small role to a bigger role. But will you keep doing that? See, growth requires some level of risk. Growth requires some level of risk. All right, great to see you, Matt. How's life? See, I started asking myself a question. How will you know if you've outgrown a room? Before you burn bridges, before you pack your bag and run away, how will you know if you have outgrown a room? Ask yourself, am I bored or am I blocked? Am I bored or am I blocked? Or you can ask yourself, have I clearly expressed my growth? In this environment I am, in this room I am, in this place I am, have I expressed my growth clearly? Am I being challenged or am I being contained? Am I being challenged or I'm being contained? And I always say, if nothing changes in the next 5 years, will I regret staying? Ask yourself that. If nothing changes in the next 5 years, will I regret staying? Am I shrinking to maintain comfort? Am I shrinking my capacity, my ability, my skills just to maintain comfort? See, these questions, they require what I call brutal honesty. Brutal honesty. Yesterday we talked about emotion, right? It is not about emotion now, it's about clarity. It's about clarity. You have to be honest with yourself. Everyone should love each other. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. I agree with you, Matt. See, outgrowing the room doesn't mean storming out, doesn't mean burning bridges, taking your bag and going away. No. It might mean expanding your network. Outgrowing the room might mean expanding your network. It might mean building leverage quietly. Yesterday I talked about leverage. A lot of people don't even know what leverage is in this day and time. You think leverage is strength. You think leverage is what it used to be 10 years ago. Leverage has shifted. The rules of the game have changed. And if you don't change with it, you're playing with the old rules, you don't get results. Outgrowing a room could be building leverage quietly. It could be increasing visibility. It could be skill repositioning. This is the day of AI. We all know that. AI is changing the whole workspace. It's changing the whole landscape. Now, are you getting repositioned into adopting AI in what you do or not? Or you feel like, man, I don't care about such stuff. It is for you guys. Okay. Outgrowing a room could be negotiating new responsibility. You're like, man, I'm no longer, this is too small for me now. I need to do something bigger. Or creating new options. Sometimes you don't leave immediately. No. You build strength first before you burn the bridge, before you move. Don't just leave. And don't burn bridges. Leave the bridge. You might still need it tomorrow. But if you have to leave a room because you have outgrown the room, build strength first. Don't leave without building strength. Don't leave without expanding your network. But don't pretend you haven't grown. Don't pretend you haven't grown. No, that is you denial. That is you living in self-denial. That denial is what causes bitterness. If you start pretending you haven't grown, that is what causes bitterness. It causes resentment. See, let me speak directly to you. You're not arrogant for wanting more. I like that, man. Don't let everyone bully you. Yes. You're not arrogant for wanting more. You're not disloyal for feeling compressed. No. You're not crazy for sensing misalignment. Growth creates friction. Friction is not failure. It is capacity stretching. Right? Maybe it is not you. Maybe you've outgrown the room. Maybe you have outgrown the room. It's not just you. It's not always you. Because see, sometimes the most mature realization you can have is that you have grown beyond where you started. The most mature realization you can have is that you have outgrown beyond where you started. And that's not ego, my friends. That's not ego. That's evolution. That's changes. So as I drop the curtain right now, let's remember, outgrowing a room doesn't mean you're disrespectful. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It is part of life to outgrow a room. And when you outgrow a room, you don't have to force yourself to accept what that room gives anymore. Like I said, you don't demand for expansion when you're in compression. But before you leave, make sure you build leverage. Make sure you build a good network. Make sure you improve your skill. Make sure you have visibility. Make sure you have repositioned yourself. In this age and time, the rules of the game have changed. Leverage 10 years ago is no longer leverage today. Visibility 10 years ago is no longer visibility today. Your network or networking 10 years ago is shifted. It's no longer networking today. So look at what works today and work towards growth. Thank you so much, friends, for your time. Thank you for sticking around with us. Please, if you've not subscribed to the channel, kindly hit the subscribe button so that you know when next we're going live, and also you can watch our old videos. Like I said, this is not a hype channel. This is a growth-only channel. Thank you so much, friends. I'll talk to you later. Peace. Matt, bye. You take care.